Well, it's a busy day today. We are preparing food for 142 kids at the local school. It's just down the road. We see their kids from that school going home and going to school in the mornings, and we almost know every one of them by now. So we are doing this to celebrate my 86th birthday, and people are asking me how and why, and that I look in good shape. So a lot of people ask me why, because I am actually quite fit too. That's because I do exercise. I was following quite a strict regimen of getting up at 4 and working out, bathing, working out and all of that. I did take a break from that and started to prioritize sleep a little more, but I actually know that that can't go on, because all of the gains, it's a sad but real thing, that all of the gains that you make while you're doing all of this hard work. I'm just checking that I've got the camera around the right way. Have I? Yes, I have. Must be a senior moment. But anyway, I thought that I would go over some of the ways that I've also, not just living right now, but my past, and why I really truly believe that not only do our thoughts shape the way that our life unfolds, I do think that the way that we've lived and created our life all along. I know that it's a kind of a new age thing, where you're supposed to get exactly what you wish for, and while I don't discount that, I think that it's probably presented it in an oversimplified way. For instance, you may well ask for something, but if you're asking, what's that popular prayer? Thank you, Lord, for giving me what I needed rather than what I wanted. Well, we're in a fortunate way that in my time of life that I'm able to say that I have pretty well most of what I want. I spent an entire life really doing what I wanted, and mainly, not solely, but mainly I was in the entertainment business, and I was a singer and a trombone player. That is very much all about the ego. Now, I won't make judgments for other people, but I did find, on reflection, when I got to the Philippines, I had a really change of life there, because I had no intention of, certainly not on the surface, I had no intention of having the life that I've got right now. Marriage was not high on my priority list and of things to do. I just needed to have another adventure. I remember I was in Fort Myers. I pretty well lost everything in the real estate crash, where you could buy a house in Florida, you could buy a very, very simple, humble dwelling, and they were going for as little as $6,000 and $10,000, imagine. So I won't go into all of that, but I did get to a point where I said, I made up my mind that this is not the end for me. I'm not going to give up and buy a rocking chair. So I came out here. But it really is a complicated subject and video that I would have to make later, because I had a complete change of life. I met and married my wife, Beth, who, as many of you will know, is a great deal younger than I am. And the thing that I always keep saying to people is that when in that moment when we very first meeting, I looked at her and she looked at me, and I thought to myself, she's too young. And she looked at me and thought, he's too old. So we agreed quite a lot in the first case. However, you can talk yourself into a load of trouble and a load of happiness as well. But after that, I went from being in the entertainment business, which actually I think most people will agree that it is in the admiration industry, isn't it? You want to go on stage and you want people to say, wow, he looks great, doesn't he look wonderful? Doesn't he sound great? Isn't he talented? Wow, wow, wow. And if you are getting that to excess, then you're probably a very famous performer. Well, I enjoyed a certain amount of success and was able to do a great number of things. So I have no regrets on that, but that's, once again, even that is another video. What I'm here to do is to try to shed some light on why I think it's possible to reach an age of 86 and not have major illnesses. And in my particular case, I think it was because I kept away from doctors. Now, I can almost hear a lot of you saying, oh well, doctors saved my life and drugs saved my life. I don't discount that, and I don't offer myself as proof. I only offer myself as an example of what happened, probably as a result of the way I chose to live my life. Now, very early on, I began to form the opinion that when you go to a doctor, it can be a little bit like taking a visit to somebody with a glass ball. Remember the crystal ball? And they would have a look in there, tell you what your future is and how many people you're going to marry and all of that. And I found that doctors were like that. I would get the flu, I'd go to the doctor, and he would charge me a fee, put me on some medication and tell me, you've got the flu. I thought, maybe there I could cut the middleman out, and that's exactly what I did. So, kept away from doctors as much as I could, and I kept away from medication. And I know that a lot of people are going to tell me, well, I've been on medication for a number of years and it has saved me. And I respect that, okay? But here's what I take on a daily basis. I'll give you a shot of the whole thing. So you can see that I do a multivitamin, right? I do the B12, I do magnesium. Now, you'll see there that I've got calcium citrate, magnesium and zinc. Zinc, very important. But apparently, from what I've seen on YouTube, someone's saying that it's much better to take magnesium on its own, because if you're taking it in one of the multi-content things like this, like calcium citrate, magnesium and zinc, and also with vitamin D3, and it's all mixed in together, and that apparently is not a good thing. Do I know that that's true? I don't know that that's true, but I can buy it. I inquired at where I get my vitamins, and there they have it, magnesium on its own. and quite extra strength, 400 milligrams. So I bought it and I'll take it. And then my favorite one, which is quite a medical vitamin because it's also a hormone, and that is the D3. And this is part of my regimen as well. It's actually from the coconut. Now that noise you just heard is Julio coming from the mountain. He brings us what must probably all put together several gallons. Thank you, darling. Don't feel that you have to keep the noise down.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. See?
I just need to finish organizing, okay?
It's tough at the top. Julio brings down several gallons of coconut juice. We call it, Beth calls it buku. Buku. And it's the juice, it's the pure, straight from the coconut. They chop the end off the husk and they pour it straight into a container, and then they put it in several bottles that we can actually handle. And Beth honestly actually drinks pints of this stuff a day. Maybe my constitution is not Filipino. You must know that Filipinos have a cast iron constitution. They eat all kinds of things that if we as mere mortal foreigners eat them, we'll be in a lot of trouble. I have a couple of these a day, which keeps me what they call regular. But I have to admit that it doesn't take much to go over and to have had too much of the buku, which if you do, without getting too graphic, it makes you more than regular. How can I say it? Well, it takes a strong man to risk a fart. That can have a profound effect on the way that you walk and sit and everything until you get home. So I have the buku every day. I have the D3. Now the D3 is supposed to be very good for overall health. Helps with testosterone, giving you what I know. It's anecdotal. I'm not a technician in any of this at all. I've done my research. I've made up my mind what I think I need. And if I go to the doctor, from experience, I know that if I go to the doctor, he'll say, well, why don't we try you on this? Well, I can do that. I can try me on this. I try me on this and I'll try me on whatever. D3. So the D3. The other one, the calcium citrate magnesium, this with D3, strong bones and teeth, and may reduce the risk of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis, and this brings us to one of the major reasons that you must keep yourself in good shape. It's not about aesthetics. When in my life I have not been a couch potato at any time. I've always preferred to do things. So I don't watch football, I don't watch soccer, I don't watch any of the spectator sports other than if I get to watch, any of the Olympics where I can watch running and I can watch the gymnastics and all of that. But it's not my weekly thing of sitting and watching other people do things. I would rather do that stuff myself. So that's it. Now, what I did do, I was very interested, but could not indulge my interest in karate and kung fu. And the main reason that I couldn't indulge was because I was fearful of getting a smack in the face. If you're doing martial arts, you're going to get hit in the face, and I couldn't afford to lose my teeth because I was a trombone player and that was my living. And that was my living from the age of like 15 right up until 1900 and frozen to death, about 25 or 30 years. And it was only when I quit on that and started doing contracting that I decided that I could risk going and doing it. And I did that unspectacularly for 2 years with my son Paul, who actually was very talented at karate, a natural. And I took him sometimes 3 times a week and we did karate. And there I learned that to take a hit, you need muscle. So you need muscle, and there's no getting away from that. And once you start to get over a certain age, and everybody has a different certain age. I spoke to one man, I think I've said this before on video, and he said, I was doing great. I was in just seemed like perfect health until I hit 70. And then 70 started to hit back. Well, I did watch that man's lifestyle. He was on heavy medication. In fact, some of the medication that some people are on is actually narcotics, and it gets very heavy.